Right. Okay. Y'all live. Here. At least somewhat looks like I'm looking at both spots to an extent. Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna wait like a minute or two because it is really early in the morning and I'm never usually live. At least not on, yeah, I'm never usually live this early. So I'm gonna give it like a minute. Oh, well, no. Great rising and good morning to the TikTok family because that's what they do is get up early and come in my lives first. So good morning to you. So in that regard, playback is happening on YouTube and Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So hi, good morning, good day, Alafia. Happy Monday, Moon Day. I am Ianifa Dania Faomi Shango. I am an Ifa priestess and spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. And this is only semi like one of my typical lives. For my regulars, if any of y'all pop in, good morning. Not doing readings this morning. Oh, hey, Ada. Look, my brain had to like lock in on the screen name. Hi, Ada. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and say trigger warning now. Like I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Trigger warning. I have kind of avoided this particular conversation, honestly, because, and only to a small extent, I avoided the conversation because honestly, I was trying to protect my peace. I've just avoided it and trying to protect my peace. But in that, I also felt my silence spoke more, did not speak to what I felt. And for me, it's like, where do you stand? And it's not about who am I standing with, it's what do I stand for? And I said, okay, I need to just get this off my chest. So this is not intended to be a really long live, but when I was sitting here at my altar, because I'm in my shrine right now, I'm sitting at my altar this morning, getting ready to do divination just for myself, it was obvious that me recording the video was not what I was supposed to do, that I was supposed to do this conversation live. So there's just been a lot of conversation around Black women in protection from our brothers. And I'm like, okay, didn't we just witness everyone coming to the aid of a brother that was in need? Like we just watched that. We all just watched it on the grandest scale. So the ancestors showed up and showed out. Like we just watched this. And now it's like it never happened. It's like it never happened. And for me personally, I feel like this has been triggering me a bit because a lot of the conversation that's been had is whether or not do Black women do what they're quote unquote supposed to do in order to receive or expect any protection. And it's honestly been heartbreaking. It's honestly been very heartbreaking. And for me, because I'm a sister, and not it's only because I'm a sister, but I'm a sister who has, hey Bree, good morning. I'm a sister who has a lot of Black men as friends. And so it had been really disheartening to me because I know that I'm someone who actually actively works to support the Black community overall, and that I purposely did not niche down to not include Black men in my work. And so when I go then and I see certain conversations happening, especially when I hear certain things from people that I care about, that I have a respect for, it is disheartening and it's frustrating. And this morning I'm sitting here and I was just sitting with spirit. And part of one of the things that I was thinking about was like the willful, it's like willfully obtuse. Like you can't even hear yourself sounding like a colonizer. Like you can't hear yourself. You will at the same time, you know, speak out for Black Lives Matter and things of that nature, but then like, well, if they but and you don't hear the commonality. Well, if they had just complied, well, if they had just, as if there was not an expectation for their life to be safe, for their personhood to be safe, for the humanity to be safe. And it sounds just like someone saying, well, if she hadn't worn such and such a thing, then such and such a thing wouldn't have happened. And I am proof that that means nothing, because generally speaking, how, especially on the pop in my lives often, how I am now, like demeanor wise, is generally how I have been always. I have always been that way. And growing up as someone who, at the 9 and 18-year-old, took what was supposed to have been something I gave in a beautiful scenario, and a 19-year-old when I was 9 took it from me. Of 9. And then to go and address that in therapy and have the person that I love sit beside me as I'm going through this healing work. I'm doing the healing work. And the therapist uses the M word to describe the scenario, the situation that I went through. She says, you know that you were, and she uses the M word. And I had actively never said that in that way. I just never said it in that way. And to have the person that I love sitting there witnessing me trying to do this healing work and say, well, no, she wasn't, because she said yes. And the therapist, in abject horror, looked at me, then looked at them and said, you know, at that age, they can't consent. They don't have the mental faculty to consent. So yes, she was. And the fact it was like, what? What are you saying right now? And this is supposed to be the person that loves me, like loves me above all others. This is supposed to be someone that loves me above all others. And this is what they say. I'm 18 years old. We'll just go in order. I'm maybe 16, 17 at the time. I think I'm about 17 at the time. Walking around my neighborhood, the neighborhood I had grown up in, walking around my neighborhood, minding my business. My friend and I had been hanging out, walked her home, and I was heading home right down the street. 2 guys right up on a bike. I'm not trying to give you no attention. They keep following me until one hops off the bike and tries to drag me into somebody's yard, because what I won't give, they're intending to take. I had already experienced having things taken from me. And thankfully, at that time, both I had been lifting weights, and I am severely intelligent, and I'm fast on my feet when I need to be. And so I just tricked them into taking me to my house where my parents and my uncles were. They were like, hey, you know, what about all them cars at your house? Which said they've been stalking me because I didn't know them, but they knew where I lived. And I said, there's a cookout going on. You know how it is. Everybody's parked on the street. So they're like, okay. So I go. Mind you, I'm only 16, 17 years old. And in this moment, it's 2 of them. And I'm trying to figure out, can I get home safely where help is? All because I didn't want to give you any attention. So I get home, and thank God I'm smart. So then I'm like, y'all stay here because my sisters are in the house and I don't want them to see this. So I go in the house, close the door, and then slump down to my floor, and I burst into tears. And my mom and dad come around the corner like, what's wrong? And I tell them those 2 boys outside tried to assault me. So my 6'4" father and his 6' tall brothers all go out in the front yard. And you would think that would be the end of it, but no. One of them left me alone. The other one proceeded to stalk me every day for several weeks until the school had to come in and intervene, because he would come to my classroom. I'm like, I gave myself older than I wasn't that old. Now I'm saying I was in middle school. I was 13 years old. High school was a different scenario. So I'm 13, 14 years old because I wouldn't give someone attention. They first tried to assault me, and when that didn't work, they just decided to make my life miserable and follow me around school every day. There are probably people who are on my Facebook watching the live who can have the vague memory of having to stand around me. Women, young 13-year-old girls, had to stand around me in a circle to keep this individual from putting his hands on me. I am very much grateful that I probably had a strong spiritual core because his family ended up sending him away because of what happened to me. 19, I think by this time about 19, 20 years old. Things happen. I'm not living in my parents' house. I'm staying with someone that I liked. I'll just say someone I liked. And I'm staying with him. His friends come over, and these are all also supposed to be my mutuals. So these are all friends. I have an expectation of safety with these brothers because I am friends with all of them. And when his back was turned, 5 of them tried to assault me at the same time. Once again, Ibashe to my ancestors in spiritual court and the fact that I lifted weights when I was younger because I was literally able to fight them all off. Why do I share this? Oh, I forgot. As recently as a couple of years ago, I met someone that worked with me. This individual worked at my job. They worked at my job. They worked at my corporate job. They worked at my corporate job. And met them. We're going to hang out. They bought one of my books, brought my book over to autograph it, talk about the book. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. Still trying, still pushing. And the fear hit. If I don't get out, something's going to happen to me. If I don't get out of this house now, it's not going to be good. All of these men look like me. All of them did. And the only thing I did was say, no. That's it. That's all I did. All I did. When I was 10, I was wearing a sweatpants. Like most people who knew me as a kid knew I was a tomboy. I had on baggy black sweatpants, black Nike Forces, and a white tee. I looked like somebody's boyfriend. That didn't matter. That didn't matter. Yet and still, I still have managed to have an expectation of my brothers when life has not shown that to me. Life has told me that I should not feel agency in my body. Life has told me that I should feel in danger when I'm with them. So when I hear them say things that sound like things that people said regarding my own personal experiences in life and situations, I apologize. It is most triggering for me, especially when it comes out of the lips of certain ones that I care about. See, there was no expectation of them being safe, protected, or anything, or them knowing this individual when in Montgomery. All they knew was not on our watch. That was it. The only thing they understood in Montgomery is this will not happen on our watch. What they knew during the civil rights movement, when the sisters were standing in the front, the sisters were standing in the front between water hoses and pepper spray. The sisters were standing in the front getting water hosed and pepper spray. They had no expectation of anything other than what you're not going to do, especially to my brothers. There was no, I know you, you lived down the block from me, we went hanging out together. All they knew was this is it. That's the only thing they knew. And it was the only thing that mattered. I have like actively avoided. And what I'm going to say is this: it's just not going to happen for us if we can't come together, period. Not come together with people we know, come together, period. It's just not going to happen. I did a live several weeks ago because I did divination for my community because I periodically need to do that. I do divination for the overall collective, but don't get me wrong, I'm still the awakening doula for the diaspora. And so I did a divination for the diaspora. So I'm going to not do the whole thing, but I'm going to reiterate a couple of things. When I did divination specifically for my sisters, two things were for certain. Ogun and the mothers were protecting us. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Orishas, Ogun is the Orisha that removes obstacles, but he's often considered the protective and warlord Orisha. So I just want you to think about that. If y'all are not familiar with the Haitian Revolution, you should go check out who they called for support and who told them it was no longer time for them to sit idly by and allow themselves to be treated as slaves. It was time for them to rebel and uprise and take their freedom. You should see which energy they called. And then come back to the thought that I said, Ogun is standing with the Black women. You should take into account that the ancestral mothers, cosmic mothers, are all standing with the Black women. Why do you think that might be? When I asked what Black men needed to know, one part was about fulfilling their full potential. See, what we saw in Montgomery was your full potential. Anything contrary to that, you are not living up to the lineage of your ancestors. You're not living up to the legacy of your ancestors. And the reason why I didn't want to talk about it or do anything about it is this. I'm not going to argue with anybody Harriet Tubman wouldn't have argued with. If Harriet wouldn't have argued with you, neither am I. It's just my feeling on it. If Harriet wasn't going to argue with you, I'm not going to argue with you. So understand when I say that you too are being looked after, but don't get it wrong. The ancestors are like, we need you to step up and stand beside your sisters. Let me say that again. Not in front, beside. Because neither one is more superior than the other. If both of you are operating in your full God selves, you are equal. You think you should be standing in front because that's what Massa was doing. You still trying to emulate Massa's dynamic on the plantation. See, understand that some generational curses and wounds come from you are trying to emulate. Like there's a whole group of slaves that they took from here and took to Africa. And what did they do? Instead of, they emulated Massa. So don't act like you can't see the correlation. Y'all saw, our ancestors saw this one man control this whole plantation single-handedly, in charge of this whole plantation. So why would you not want to emulate him? Why would you say, well, why can't I just be like that? That sounds like the move right there. I want to control everybody. My partner, Black women, let me just control everybody. That is a wound and a curse. So you can just continue to operate in that fashion, or you can lead a plantation. And if you leave the plantation, then you can't stand in front of us. You have to stand beside us. And there will be moments where one of you may know something more than the other. One of you may be more financially sound. So in financial matters, that is the one that stands up. One of you may be more good at, cooking. Like one of you may not be a good cook. And y'all supposed to bring balance It's supposed to be about balance. It's not about leadership, it's about partnership. It's not about leadership, it's about partnership. What they said was, you'll have to fulfill your ancestral potential and go back to your roots. You have to remember how to honor both the masculine and the feminine as equal parties in the game. Because only then will you be able to ascend and make that connection to source. They're saying the connection to source is calling out to you, but you can't see it because you're only operating or only recognizing or only acknowledging or giving credence to one aspect of source when source is all things and all energies, including feminine. And recognizing you have to be kinder. You have to be kinder, and you have to not have negative thoughts and watch how you speak and watch how you treat people, specifically your sisters, because there's a call in that message that came through like a problem with in-laws. And the way that I interpreted that is the mothers are standing in front of the sisters. So the in-laws you have a problem with are not physical, they're spiritual. The in-laws you got a problem with are not in the physical realm, they're in the spiritual realm. And it's that notion that you can't de-escalate. Y'all have the most, like, real talk, black men, y'all are so charismatic, and the gift of gab is strong within 90% of y'all. The gift of gab is strong in 90% of y'all, yet you will not use it to de-escalate situations. You won't use it. You are not living up to the full potential that you have. And the moment you realize your full potential, when you stop operating that in the idea that the only thing that you are is human, divinely so. And that's the part you're missing. You are divinely human, but y'all are also gloriously God's. And the problem is your sisters are realizing that they too are not simply divinely human. They're just coming to it sooner, because as womb holders, our connection to source is direct, like intimate, because we have a walking portal in our body that connects us to heaven and earth. So when they start to wake up sooner, it's not that they're doing something or better than you. It is simply that it is inherently genetically designed. They are supposed to be connected to source in that fashion. It doesn't mean that you don't have a connection. You just have to work to get there in a different way. And if you are disconnected from the other aspect of source that makes source the intangible force that we recognize permeating through everything, which is feminine energy, you're not going to be fully connected. You're only halfway there. And your ancestors are telling you, you can go all the way. You can go all the way. Alafia, Omo Eshu, like you can go all the way. You can go all the way and be fully connected. But in order to be fully connected, you have to partner with them. Most people at this point have seen they clone Tyrone, but if you haven't, sorry, spoiler alert. The only way they could save themselves was to go. The only way those brothers were able to save themselves was they had to go in and get the Black woman. The only person that was not cloned in that scenario was the sister. What did they do to all the Black women? The mother was just gone. She wasn't cloned. She was simply just gone. The other mothers, just gone. Like, simply just gone. They weren't cloning the Black woman. If they could not control the Black woman by controlling their hair, they simply got rid of them. If they cannot control the Black woman, they simply got rid of them. They didn't clone them, they got rid of them. Look at who all got freed. When they freed the sister, and look at who all they cloned the brothers. They were free the moment they stood up for her. The moment you're able to stand with your sister as opposed to against her, your overflow is going to show up. Your connection to source is going to be so much stronger because you'll be no longer disconnected from the aspect of yourself that is connected to what birthed the cosmos. understand that I have been on a block party and I have literally just been blocking people and unsubscribing to creators and things of that nature because what we're not going to do is sound like the ones that unalived George Floyd and Trayvon Martin and all of the rest of these brothers that all of us stood and marched and cried and wept for because when they said, well, they should have been doing something different, they should have had a different, all of us said collectively, none of that mattered to how they should have been treated as humans. None of that was relevant. They all should still be here. If you can't say that about your sisters, there is nothing in the physical that's going to address it. There's nothing in the physical realm that's going to address that. To my sisters that are practitioners, spiritualists, like I said, Ogun said, I got you. You need to know you got questions on what you need to do to say thank you. You can reach out to me. But Ogun said, I got you. In fact, in the last week, I've had to make Ogun Alekes for multiple Black women. Ogun said, I got you. Y'all can't do that in the comment section, man. Like the mother said, they got you. They got you. The mother said they got you. They do. They do. Your ancestors, they got you. Ancestors got the whole collective. But understand if, and you know what? And then I want to say this as well. The sisters that are not I shall the sisters that have been echoing some of this rhetoric that you have to be a certain type of person for your humanity to be safe. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say. What I'll say is Ogun removes obstacles, and sometimes the obstacle is you. There we go. Sometimes the obstacle is you. Sometimes the obstacle is you and how you think and how you move. And Ogun is all about progress. And the thing that was most beautiful about the Odu that came up for the Black women was that the thing that stuck out to me was that Ogun is all about the movement and elevation of the collective consciousness. And so this protection of Black women is not simply about protecting their personhood. This is about moving the collective consciousness. This is moving your collective consciousness. So understanding that you're, the way, and what's wild is months ago, this was maybe early this year, late last year, there was conversation about an alleged group that there was allegedly a group of Black men that were talking about that the only way to save humanity was to unalive Black women, which biologically seems crazy because Black women are the one being on earth that can birth everybody else. But yeah, let's go ahead and unalive the blueprint. Okay. Like we are the seed, like we hold the seeds to humanity. But yeah, and so when I heard about this group, what I realized, no one had seen a face of someone that had been in this group. And what I know about my brothers, just like with this whole situation, they didn't hide their faces. All the black men that felt a certain way or felt like, how they felt, openly show their faces. But in this particular organization, nobody has seen their faces. It's just a rumor that it's black men. And so I did divination and asked, is this group black men? And this is where black men have to realize they are being played. That's why Clone Tyrone, they're cloning black men. They're being played. I did divination, and the divination said the group in question there was not a single black man in that organization, not one. They are pretending to be black men. Let me say that again. I want y'all to go watch They Clone Tyrone. Understand, there's certain people, they're playing chess while some of us in our community are still playing goldfish. You're not even playing remotely close to the same game. They're playing chess and some of us are playing goldfish. That organization hadn't, like, I asked Spirit, I'm like, I'm not gonna ask no human, I'm just gonna go to the source. Yo, are these black men? No, they're not black men, but they know the lingo, they put on the blackface and how they speak. And thus one person's like, oh my God, black men want us unalive. That's not the whole picture. You're not hearing the whole story. You're only taking what you see, and you're not doing any research. When I see spiritual folks doing it all the time, did you go to Spirit and ask? Because that's what I do. There's nothing for me to shake a little shell, throw in a willy, and ask the question. Is this so? And so I asked the question, is this so? Is this my brother's doing this? No. So that's why I didn't come on here like, oh my God, black men, blah, blah, blah. All I came on here was love and an example to show your thought process. If you think that simply existing and simply being a sister is not enough, I'm just questioning your thought process and wishing you would get out of the plantation. And when I looked at, what's going on? Why is this happening? And what was the Odu I got? And this is how, when you're like a good at what you do. So when I got the Odu, the message that came through is they're trying to remove an obstacle. The reason people are doing this is they're trying to remove an obstacle. Well, who's the obstacle? Black women. They're trying to remove, the reason why this group is saying that black women need to be gone is because they see black women as an obstacle. Because no matter what has happened, even in this, if something happened tomorrow, even today, went on today, where a black man was in danger and there was a group of black women, I can guarantee you they're going to stand there for their brother. And this is why on the other side, they're like, we have to get rid of them, because no matter what we do, they keep standing for these dudes. And the only, we're trying to get rid of them. And the only way to get rid of them is to get rid of what birthed them. So we got to get rid of the black woman. We got to get rid of her. And it's like, we're not going anywhere. Disrespectfully, we're not going anywhere. Disrespectfully, we're not going anywhere. How are you going to get rid of the thing that birthed everything? We birthed everything, biologically speaking, everything in existence, everything, every race, every color, every nationality can point itself to a black woman. Where we going? We got here first. Where we going? Where we going? Everyone starts as a woman, biologically, scientifically, before any other hormones are introduced. Everyone starts as one. Where are we going? Where are we going? So there is an active work to remove her from her power. No one wants black women. We all say thank you. We all say thank you. They don't want us remembering. They don't want us remembering. The last thing they want is for us to reconnect to our African tradition, Why do you think they disconnected us? If there was not a fear of what could possibly be done, and that fear grew because of Haiti, like that fear grew because of Haiti. Haiti said, we're going to go with spirit. So in the middle of the night, they're doing ritual. And who shows up but Ogun? That's why I said at the beginning, when I talked about the divination, I said Ogun is showing up for Black women at this time. And if you look at what's going on collectively surrounding Black women, not just here, but everywhere, especially, but it's most especially in the diaspora. If you look at what's going on, and for me to get an Odu, like what message am I supposed to give Black women? Ogun and the Iyani are here. Everybody else should mind their business in that regard. Everybody else need to mind their business and do what it is they supposed to be doing. They should mind their business and do what it is they supposed to be doing. But when I hear y'all say, shouldn't have an expectation that you're protected. And I think that's someone asked the question, like, what does protection look like? Protection looks like de-escalate the situation. Like you can use your words because you have them. And you were given word because Ika came up for Black men. So it means y'all have the power of the word and you're not using it. Y'all have the power of the word, and what you're choosing to do is use it in some regards against your sisters, instead of using the power of the word to leave the plantation and use it against those who would be using it against all of us. And I tried not to do this because I know that I am exceptionally blessed, that I have a hive of Black men that if I'm out with, like, I say this all the time, if I text any of them 911, they coming, period. They coming. They're not asking me no questions. They're not asking me what I did. They're not asking me what I have on. I'm not sure, hun. They're not asking me what I did. They're not asking me what I have on. They're simply boop, 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 911. Where are you? That's what they're asking. Where are you at? And they're coming. They're coming to come see about me. They're coming. Even with the situation that happened where there was somebody at my job who got very close to assaulting me if I had not left the house, they were like, who is he? Because a couple of them work with me. They're like, who is he? I refuse. I want you to feel that. Hold on. I want you to feel what I did there. This dude got this close to assaulting me. Had I not left, that's exactly what would happen. This close to assaulting me. And I knew where he worked and I knew where he lived. And when the opportunity to exact vengeance was given to me, who is he? Oh no, I'm not doing that. No. Nope, not doing it. And they're like, tell me who he is. Give me his name. I'm not telling you his name. I'm not telling you his name. I'm not telling you his department. I'm not telling you none of that. What if I, as a Black woman, still actively doing for a brother who didn't necessarily earn that protection? Even the one who came to my house when I was like in the 5th grade and assaulted me, I'm sorry, 6th grade. 6th grade, assaulted, full-blown assaulted in my house. And when my dope boy boyfriend asked me, who is it? Him I told, but then I also made him promise to not do a thing. He's like, what? I said, I can't have that come back on you. Don't do anything. And if I was to say the name of who my boyfriend was at the time, at least 4 or 5 people on my Facebook friend list who grew up in my neighborhood would understand what I mean when I say I told him don't do nothing because he had a reputation for doing something. And I was like, no, don't do anything. Neither of these men, none of them earned, showed any character trait that earned my protection. None of them did. But there was something in my spirit that said, this wasn't the way. And so I honored that, even if I didn't understand it at that time. I wasn't on a spiritual journey then, but there was just something in my being said, do not allow that to happen in your name like that. So I didn't. So I didn't. Ain't for me to know what's supposed to happen go forward. That ain't for me to decide. However it's gonna be handled, it's gonna be handled, but I'm gonna let spirit handle it, I guess. 'Cause I never told. I never told and didn't tell them. It's like, nope, don't you do nothing. I protected both the individual and my friends. I protected them both, all brothers, all black men. So yeah, um, that's all I wanted to say. Like I said, I needed to get it off my chest because it's been on me for like at least a week. Like I need to say something. And so you watch the playback. If you want to catch it from the beginning, it'll be on my YouTube and my Facebook. But I said, if I don't say what I stand for, clearly stand for nothing. So I wanted it to be clear where I stood. And you don't have to like it because you can unfollow me, you can unfriend me, you can do all of the things. But on every single solitary day, it will always be protect the Black people, protect the Black women, protect children, protect all the children, protect all of them, all of them, all of them. Protect Black women, period. I don't care how she dress, I don't care how she talk, but in that moment, in that situation where there is danger afoot, it is protect them. It's protect them. That's what it is. Because that's what it is. Because you know what's going to happen? No matter what, no matter how you talk, no matter how you dress, no matter nothing, you know what Black women will always say 10 toes down, even when we're mad at you, protect Black men. We recognize that some of y'all just are lost. Some of y'all are lost. You're like some of y'all are like that annoying little brother. And but guess what? Don't you say nothing to my little brother. Period. That's what the relationship is like. It's like that annoying sibling. And they're like, why are you bothering me? I'm not touching you. Why are you bothering me? I'm not touching you. But the moment 10 toes down, we got you. Period. I'm always going to hold you down. Always. And I am so grateful that I have cultivated a relationship with spirit where I simply attract protective Black men. Like I have like all of them, even the ones that get on my nerves. I know what they not gonna do is let anything happen to me. Heck, even my ex, like real talk, even my ex, who I were only just barely cordial with, the father of my kids, the moment I told him I felt like someone was trying to stalk me, I felt his energy shift and I was unafraid. I felt the energy shift and I was unafraid. Unafraid. Because I knew he had my back. We may not get up like we ain't like homies or nothing like that right now, but what he's not gonna do is let anything happen to me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Because according to some of these brothers, he ain't gotta be that way, but he is. He'll never verbally say that to me. The benefits of being a psychic is because he don't have to. He's already showed it. He's already showed it. So I'm gratitude to not just my spiritual team, but theirs, for allowing them to stand up and be those kind of men in my life. And understand, sisters, like, it goes without saying that it's not all Black men. I'll leave y'all with a high note before I go. So, Saturday morning, I had an Ori cleanse to do. It's a gentleman, brother, soldier, found me on Google. Shouts out to my SEO working. Mm, mm. It's like, he found me on Google, got a divination, Ori cleanse came up, and I was like, where are you at? He said he's local. I was like, oh, well, I can actually do it for you in person. He's like, bet. So comes over Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning for the Ori cleanse. It was too cool outside. The mama in me would not let me wash his Ori outside. It was too cool outside. So I let him come in. Not only did I let him come in, I was by myself. So, according to these other brothers, I should not have had any expectation of safety, but I felt entirely safe. That was my expectation. If I had felt anything else intuitively, I would have done it. I just felt safe. Did his Ori cleanse. We had a great conversation. He learned that I do Reiki, so he's going to book a Reiki session with me. And when we got ready to leave, when he pulled up, I heard the car. I didn't see it at first, but I heard it. And what it sounded like was thunder. And I'm like, who the heck sounded like Shango outside my house? Why does it sound like it's thundering outside? So I'm like looking outside, looking for a truck, and I don't see it. So then he called. He's like, hey, I think I'm in front of your house. So I look out the window again, and I see the sports car at the corner. And I'm like, I think you're at my neighbor's house. You need to come backwards. I'm next door. So he comes back. So when we leave out from doing his Ori cleanse, I ask him about his car. I was like, yo, what kind of car do you drive? And can I see it? Because from a distance, it looked really nice. And he said, oh, I drive a Corvette. I personally have never been close to a Corvette in my physical life other than a toy one. So I'm like, oh, can I come see it? Because the kid in me is now excited. Like, yo, let me see your car. And so I tell him that I have been talking about manifesting a new car, just something I could drive around town when I don't have the boys with me. And I wanted a Camaro, but I also said I was making space to go to the car lots and drive luxury cars, because I realized the reason I want a Camaro is because I don't have a relationship with luxury cars, because I've never had one and I've never been in one. So I don't know which one I would like. And so he said, well, you want to sit in it? Wait. Yeah. Like, because from my Ile, they honor the Isheshe of the diaspora, and both of them are represented. Great question. So when I went to the car, he's like, you want to sit in? He said, actually, do you want to drive it around the block? So again, I don't know this brother. And I'm like, oh, you gonna let me drive your Corvette? Let me say that again, because the little kid in me was excited. You gonna let me drive your Corvette? You don't know me, I don't know you. You gonna let me drive your Corvette? Sure did. Sure did. Let me drive it around the block. Safe. Not only did I feel safe, I was enjoying myself, because the kid in me was like, oh, so we about to vroom vroom. He let me rev the engine, vroom vroom, safe. So I share that story to say there's still the social media, because it's especially confined to what's happening in your FYP, will have you feeling a way. And I want you to consider part of your manifestation work, for those of you who do that, part of your protection work is to make sure that you speak protection the way you want to see it. You speak your environment the way that you want to see it. And thus, speak it in a way that says, I am always and ever protected, spiritually and physically. And I'm always in safe space. And there are always spirit and people around me who ensure that I always feel safe. This will help you start to make sure that you're cultivating certain types of energy in your space. So that's why I say I'm always grateful to spirit, because the energy in my space, in my bubble, in my orbit, in my physical reality doesn't always reflect what's going on collectively. But as someone that supports the collective, I have to make sure that I say something, even if it's not reflective in my physical reality, is that the brother is going to stand 10 toes down, period. Period. And that's why it hurt my heart seeing some of the commentary from brothers and sisters, because I'm like, one, that's not my physical reality. And two, why would you say that? Why you want to sound like them so bad? Why you want to sound like them so bad? Why do you want to sound like them so bad? There's so many folks out here still doing master's work. So many still out here doing master's work, looking for opportunities to separate, to divide. And I just want to remind you that we're all one, period. Period. Oh, hey, like all one, period. So there we go. So that's my live for the morning. Um, I hope that something okay, something I said maybe nourished you, made you feel like okay, it's it doesn't have to be as heavy. Um, I feel much lighter because it was sitting on my heart. I was like, say something. I don't want to talk about it. Say something. I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone. So hopefully this will make my FYP stop looking the way that it does. Because Spirit's like, okay, she did what we needed. We can stop bombarding her with this content and I can go back to my regularly scheduled programs. So thank y'all so much for joining, especially the TikTok. Shouts out to the TikTok fam because y'all always out in these streets showing love. And I very much greatly appreciate how y'all show up. Um, for those of you who join my lives in the afternoons, for those of you who join my lives in the afternoons, today I won't be on. I got one of my godchildren and I have a session today. Um, I got a divination in about an hour. So yeah, I'm gonna be tired. I'm not. I'm like not. That's not true. I'll probably be feeling high. Like I don't imbibe on anything, but I keep feeling like when I do a lot of spiritual work, this must be what feeling high feels like because I would just be on cloud nine. I'd be like on cloud nine. Yesterday was so dope. Like for my godchildren, we meet every 2 weeks on Sundays, and we have class. They're all like in my mentorship program. So we all have class on Sundays, and we get together. But that's also our time where we honor E5. So at the end of our session, like I do Oriki, and I've just recently taught them the call and response. Let me just tell you, then I'm gonna go for real, but I need to gush over my godchildren. So like I'm telling sessions with my god siblings where we do Oriki together. And the reason I like them is because when I'm doing it by myself and things like that, it's different when you get to enjoy it from someone else. I enjoy it, period. But when I can listen to somebody else do it, it's a different type of enjoyment. It's like going to a concert, but you're the one performing, and you may be having a great time, but it's not the same as you being able to sit in the audience and enjoy the concert. It's just two different feelings. So doing it in community, especially when the community is also participating. So it's also again different when I'm doing it and they're just listening. And yesterday is that I'm doing it and they're actually a part of the experience. Oh, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. Somebody said Shango decided to do his own Oriki because my voice changed. And that joint was hilarious because I heard it. And I was like, oh, who that dude is? Who that brother that just came? It was so beautiful, so beautiful. So today I got a few things happening like big to big. Alafia. Oh, I'm not gonna stay on that long, sugar plum. I'm not gonna stay on it long. I gotta go. I got a phone date with one of my homegirls. We gotta catch up. Like I gotta go be human, just a regular human for a little bit and catch up with my homegirl. But I'll be on live again another day this week. Or if you just want to like chat about it, if you just like you just got it and you just want to like get my thoughts on it and you just want to chop it up, you can always book a consult. I do 15-minute consultations. They're only $20. So I would absolutely chat with you, but I gotta go be human and take advantage of the quiet while my children are asleep. I gotta take advantage. I gotta like bump my gums a little bit on regular mundane things. Like, girl, how you been? What you doing? What's for breakfast? Yeah. I shall a lot because I gotta be like I gotta go have girl talk. I haven't had girl talk in a really long time. I gotta go have girl talk. So I thank y'all as always. Love you, and y'all have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care.